Perfect.
Okay, we are live.
Yeah. Hi,
Hello, people.
guys. Okay, Anika, why don't you introduce yourself first and then I'll go next.
Yes, so if anybody has joined us already, welcome
Not
to
yet.
our 1 o'clock webinar today. So my name is Anika, and I have with me Angela today. And so I
Hi.
will, yeah. So whenever you guys join, please introduce yourselves. I'm just gonna type up some
Yeah.
questions. Like, what's your name?
Okay, we have people coming in now.
Oh yeah, great. We have two already.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what your name is. Where are
Mm-hmm.
you?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe
Yeah.
your job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what
Yeah.
do you do?
Yeah. Let us know what you do. Welcome. Mm-hmm.
Welcome. So I will begin by introducing myself.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Anika. I'm 31. I'm originally from Bangladesh, and I used to live in Malaysia before I moved to Italy about 6 years ago.
Oh,
So
wow. I
hi,
didn't know that.
yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
that. No.
It's been a while. Yeah. What about you,
Okay.
Angela?
Yes. So, hi guys. I'm Angela. I'm from Nepal, and I've been living here in Milan for the last 5 years. And before that, I was living in Qatar. I've lived in various countries, and yes, I call Milan home now. So
Mhm. Great.
that's about it from me. I'm a teacher at Myes, just like Anika. All right. Hi, Jenny. Jenny
It's
from
Paula.
Padua. Yeah,
I remember
Jenny,
Johnny from another
you
masterclass.
remember? Oh, I remember Alessia with the picture of the cat. Alessia from Treviso.
Hi,
Yeah.
Alessia.
Hi,
Thanks for
guys.
joining.
Welcome. Okay. Anytime during the webinar, if you feel like you need to ask us a question, please don't forget to write it down in the comments below and we'll answer your questions. All right. We'll be happy to answer.
Yes, yeah. Keep the comments coming.
Yay.
Yeah. And so, what are we talking about today? Um, we're gonna
Some difficult
talk about
decisions.
yes, yes. Are you good
Yeah.
at making decisions, Angela?
Oh no, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. What
Yeah.
about you, Anika?
I think I'm quite similar. I'm on the same boat. When the
Okay.
decision is easier to make, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it depends. Like if it's a work decision, I'm not that bad at it. But in personal
Mm-hmm.
life, I'm not very good at
Okay.
making decisions. I hesitate.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So what about you guys, Johnny, Alessia, anybody else watching? Tell us about your like how
Mm-hmm.
good are you or how bad are you at making
Yes.
decisions?
Yeah. Yeah. Write to us. Let us know. Meanwhile, let's talk
Hmm.
about decisions. Okay. We can, maybe I can read this, right, Anika?
Sure,
Discussing
you can
difficult
go
decisions, decision idioms, giving advice, and solving dilemmas. All right. So,
ahead. Okay.
hi, Annalisa. Annalisa from Naples.
Welcome.
Okay, good. Welcome. Okay.
Yeah. So um, let us know about whether you're good at making decisions.
Oh,
Jen
Jenny is
said,
saying that the system doesn't work. Do you mean the connection, Jenny? Ah, yeah.
yeah, could you be
Okay.
more specific? Like, can you tell us if you can hear us? Can you
Mhm.
write?
And yeah, Alessia says, for small decisions, I'm good, but for important decisions, is a little bit difficult for me. Ah,
Hmm.
okay. I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, those are
Okay.
the hard ones, the important decisions, like the bigger ones.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
you're
that
right,
take a lot of
Alessia. We're
thinking.
all in the same boat. We are all we are all in the same boat. So, meaning we are all in the same situation we have the same problem. We share the same problem. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
So Alicia can hear. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Wait a second here. What about Gianni? Oh, all right.
So maybe we can move on to the next topic. That's
Yes.
okay. So let's talk about some of these interesting questions here.
Yeah.
So the first one we have kind of talked about already. So do you
Mm-hmm.
find making decisions difficult? But
Mm-hmm.
I can see some new people joining us. So tell us about how you find making this difficult decision.
Ah, good,
Okay,
Gianni.
great, great.
Gianni says okay now. Yeah, good. Perfect.
Yeah.
Do
So
you
how do
find
you find?
making decisions difficult? Okay, sorry. Did I cut you off there? Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the connection is like in a turmoil today. So, do you find making decisions difficult? As we said, yes. Some decisions are easier to make, and some are much more difficult than some. Okay, so we talk a lot about procrastination at this time. Okay, so yes, I am guilty of it. I always think I'll do it later, or maybe I can't, but but we
Yeah,
put it off for a while.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes, yeah, me too. These days, I find it really hard to prioritize what to do, like different tasks.
mm-hmm.
So you have different tasks to do, and you have to decide like which one to do first, which one to do next. So I find
Exactly.
it difficult to do these days. So what about you guys? Tell us about some specific decisions you have to make and you find difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, let's go on to number 2. What's the most
sure.
difficult decision you have ever had to make? Anika, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a hard one actually.
Uh,
Especially for someone who find it difficult to make decisions like me. So the most difficult decision for me would be um, right to I have moved cities a few times. So I think one of those times I had difficulty deciding whether I should move or not. It was like a big decision for me. So I had to think really carefully and
mhm.
take my time. Right. Oh, we have some comments from Annalisa. She says important decisions require a lot of energy, brainstorming, and loads of time to evaluate pros and cons. That's
Fantastic.
right. Yeah.
Mhm. So
So
not
not
easy at
easy at
all.
all. Hmm.
But
But
often I go
go
with my gut, and often it turned out to be the right choice. Oh, good for you, Annalisa. Very good. Yeah. Sometimes that
I like
happens.
your choice of vocabulary,
Yeah, very
Annalisa.
good.
Very nice. So,
Brainstorming, the evaluation of pros and cons. Okay, nice. Very good. Also, guys, can you write down and tell us what's the most difficult decision you have ever had to make? Okay. You can also invent something. You can write down what you feel like, but let us know if you have had to make a difficult decision. All right.
what about you, Angela? What's the most difficult decision you've ever had to make?
I have been thinking about it right now,
Hmm.
and I have to say one of the most difficult decisions I've ever had to make is when I left my previous job. That was a difficult time for me because I didn't really know whether I wanted to keep working there, or if I
Hmm.
had to change my entire life and move to another country and so on. So those were the things. Oh, I had to weigh the pros and cons, and it was a difficult decision.
Did you take a lot of time to just make the decision?
Yes, I took a couple of months, uh,
Hmm.
and finally I decided that uh, this particular decision I took was the best for everyone. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
If you're happy with it now, is the right choice.
absolutely. Gianni says the more people are involved, the harder are the decisions to make. Oh yes, Jenny, you're so right, because then you have to consider everyone's feelings, everyone's sentiments. Yeah, and so the
Yeah,
decisions, it's so much more difficult. Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Right. Come on, guys. Anybody else? Yeah, it does take a little bit of time to write this answer. So,
Yeah. So
oh,
Alessia here. Go
yeah.
ahead, Angela. You want to take
Okay.
this one?
Alicia says the most difficult decision that I had made was to choose the right university. The most difficult decision that I made was to choose the right university. Okay, Alessia. I hope I'm glad you chose the right one though. Yeah. And Jenny says that whenever I changed my job, it was a difficult decision. Absolutely. It's always very difficult while changing jobs and when you're in between jobs and so on. Very difficult.
Mm, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So before we move on, I just wanted to mention something Alessia has written.
Mhm.
So, decision that I have ever made, I think it sounds like better.
Mhm.
Let's say
Mhm.
the most difficult decision I have ever made
Mhm. Yes.
was choosing the right university.
Yeah.
Not choose, but choosing.
Choosing the right university or to choose the right
Let's say
university, I
choose.
would say. What do you think, Anika? Okay.
As
Great.
was to choose. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Great. All right. What about number 3? Do you have a have a system or special approach when it comes to making decisions, Anika? And you guys, of course.
Yeah. This number three is a very interesting question. It can
Mhm.
help. We can help each other with this question because we all find it difficult
Yes,
to make decisions. So, do you
true.
have any tips for or for some approach you have for making decisions?
Yes,
Or
yeah, one of the tips that could be, to list down as Alessia said earlier, to weigh the pros and cons, the positives or the negatives, the pluses, the minuses. Okay, so I would make a list and I would see which list is longer, I think. Well, you can do it like physically with the pen and paper, and you can also make the list in your mind. Okay, so
sure.
yeah, those are the things I would do. Is there anything else you could do, Anika? I mean, I guess that's about, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you, first of all, but
Mhm,
then sometimes I
mhm.
do make the list, but sometimes what happens is even if the list is shorter, it just
Mhm,
feels like, oh my God, it's still like it has a
mhm,
lot more weight than the
mhm.
other list, even though it's shorter. So I sometimes choose the shorter
True.
list. So it really
Yeah.
depends.
Exactly. And Jani says, in general, for important decisions, I try to have a comment from the people I trust. So basically, you take some sort of advice from people that you love and trust, that you can count on. Okay, that makes sense, I think, Anika. Yeah, we can, get the input from people like family and friends, people we
Sure.
trust. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
agree
nice.
with
Yeah,
you. Although
absolutely.
sometimes I find that if I personally take too many advice, it affects my own decision. So sometimes I
Okay.
think it kind of affects what I really want to do.
All
So
right.
sometimes I avoid that in some cases. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. What do you guys think? What do you think, Angela? Do you
Hmm.
think?
Too many cooks spoil the broth.
Oh, yeah, that's what I would say.
Uh-huh. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a nice expression that you guys
Mm-hmm.
might find really useful.
Mm-hmm. Too many cooks
But I
spoil the
do
broth.
agree that in some cases, advice is really essential for from someone who has had the experience
Yeah,
to experience
absolutely.
about
Somebody
yeah.
who's had that experience, who has been in that situation before,
Sure.
maybe they can. Johnny is so funny. He says sometimes there is also the system heads or tails. Okay, so you're going to flip a coin. Flip a
Yeah.
coin. Great, Johnny. Yes, sometimes, I mean, that's what we do, don't we?
Yeah. Flip
We
or
take,
toss a coin. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, flip or toss a coin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in
So,
some cases, you just don't know what to do. I just have to go
yeah.
for like something.
And sometimes you don't have an option, right? Like
Yeah.
everything just pushes you towards that certain direction.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Maybe
that
that's like a sign, like you sign
yeah,
from whatever the supernatural or something.
science.
You have to go that way.
Hmm. True. Yeah, that's what we can do.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we know how to make
So,
our
yeah.
decision.
So we
Yes.
can move forward a bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Mm,
Hmm.
so we have some idioms
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna talk about.
Mm.
So we're gonna look at the following related idioms. What do they mean? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe can I ask Angela to read the expressions for us for the
Yes,
pronunciation?
absolutely. Between a rock and a hard place. Okay. The second one is a no-brainer. The third one, the third one is damned if I do and damned if I don't. The fourth one is between the devil and the deep blue sea. And of course, the fifth one is weigh the pros and cons. We've been using that idiom for a while now. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So, what do you think between a rock and a hard place means? Okay. It's quite self explanatory. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Self explanatory, or it's a no brainer.
Yeah.
Second, second idiom.
Maybe we could think of some examples of
Mm-hmm.
being in between a rock and a hard place.
All right.
And the viewers, please let us know what you think the definition is. So, being between a rock and a hard place would be, um, hmm. So, for example, I had a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I had two friends who were not talking to each other, but I was
Mm-hmm.
invited to two different places with them. So I just didn't know where to go. So if I went to one of those places, the other friend would really be mad at me. So I was
Okay.
between a rock and a hard place. Like I just
Fantastic.
didn't
That's
know
a
where
good
to go.
example. Yeah, a good example. Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever been in this situation, Angela, or some other situation where you
A
were
rock and a hard place. I well, I might have been in this situation, but it doesn't come. It doesn't come to me right now.
not?
But I am sure that I have been in this situation more than
Yeah,
once. I'm sure.
yeah.
All right.
So if
Mm,
you guys have any experience like that where you were between a rock and a hard place, let us know. Oh,
yes.
Johnny has an answer here. You
Oh,
want me to
very
go
good.
first?
When you are between two extremely difficult situations, in general, it's negative. Okay, yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
It's a
That's
good
exactly.
explanation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Generally, it's negative. Yeah. In fact, it's almost always negative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
great.
then we have a no-brainer. So
Hmm.
Angela has used that once. So the
Yeah.
meaning of the first expression was a no-brainer, like Angela said. So what do you think it means? If you know the definition, let us
Yeah.
know.
Let us know.
So, a no-brainer decision.
Mm.
Those are really hard to come by. Those are super hard.
Yeah.
Well, if you have to choose between, I think if you have to choose between mm, hmm, Italian food and okay, I don't want to go into dangerous areas there.
Oh,
So,
yeah, there we go. Alessia says
mhm,
something that is easy to choose.
yeah,
Absolutely, yes. So
exactly.
something that doesn't require a lot of thinking. Okay.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
decision that is easy to make, as Jenny says. Perfect. These are perfect explanations of
yeah.
this idiom.
That's
All
right.
right.
That's right.
Damned if you do and damned if you don't. Anyone? Can you write down your explanation or your definition of this?
Hmm. That's a really tough one. Like, damned if you do and if you don't.
Yeah.
So the example, can you think of an example, Angela? Like
I
something if
would
you do it? Hmm.
I would think maybe, for example, okay, for example, let's take the situation at hand right now.
Hmm.
Okay, um, we're not, for example, for me personally, I would say I'm not getting too much exercise because I'm usually a person who loves walking. Okay.
Hmm.
Ah, there you go. Jenny has written something.
Yeah.
Okay. Better he explain it. Okay. In both cases, you will be in big trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, example, if you want to go out for a walk, just a stroll, and the police
Yeah.
catch you, you're damned. And if you don't, you're sitting at home. Uh, you don't feel
Yeah.
very good because you're like, you just
Hmm.
antsy. You just want to go out, right? You
You
don't
may
feel
feel
like you
bored
have,
at home, but
yeah,
then if you go out, it's a really big problem. It can cause
mhm,
problems to others. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's a
So,
great example. It also
hmm
made me think of a friend I have who
hmm
who wasn't really into his job. He wasn't really enjoying his job, but
hmm
then he couldn't leave the job because he needed it. So it's
okay.
like damned if you did and damned if you
If
didn't.
you don't. Yeah, exactly. True,
So what
true.
about you guys? If you have an experience like that or something that
Mhm.
happened, feel free to share. If you
Yes.
don't mind sharing about it.
Yeah.
Um, so
Meanwhile, let's go to Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea.
mm,
It's almost the same thing, isn't it? Damned
yeah,
if you do, damned if you don't, between the devil and the deep blue sea. Okay,
yeah,
basically it means the same thing.
yeah. Two difficult scenarios. So
Mm-hmm.
those are things that happen very often in life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, choosing places to live in or in relationships, very
Mm-hmm.
commonly. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. True.
Um, okay. And
Mm-hmm.
weighing pros and cons is something we already talked about. So
Mm-hmm.
now let me write a question for you guys. So have you ever been or share about an experience where you had to make a difficult decision?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay,
In
tell us
life,
about.
we always make decisions. And sometimes they are fairly easy to make, and sometimes, as you know, they're difficult, as we talked about earlier. So tell us about something that you've had to actually think about. Okay, something you've
Yeah,
had to decide on. We
yeah,
can wait for you. Meanwhile,
yeah,
we'll chit chat. Anika and me will chit chat,
yeah,
and we'll wait for your answers. I'm
yeah,
looking at Gianni, Alessia, okay, some of the active writers.
yeah. We know your names already.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can't
yeah.
escape us. Uh-huh.
So, wow. So
Oh,
Jenny,
great.
hmm,
Okay, so Gianni, in the first situation, the devil, you will be in your well known comfort zone. In the second, you can jump into something unknown and perhaps better. Oh, that's a different way of looking at it. What do
hmm.
you think, Anika?
Well, I think both sides are, I mean, when you talk about a devil and the
Mhm.
deep blue sea, I think both cases are usually negative.
Exactly.
So I
It's
think it's
more like
like,
the other idiom saying damn if you do and damn if you don't. Okay.
yeah, it's really similar to that.
But it's a
So
nice way of looking at it. Yeah.
yeah.
In English, normally whenever we're talking about the devil, it's always a negative situation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a negative connotation there.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, there's so many of these situations. So for example, One of my friends, so it's again related to jobs. Like one of my friends has a family, but because of work, he couldn't spend a lot of time with his family. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like he couldn't say no to his job, and then he couldn't say no to his family either. So
Uh-huh.
it was like in a like tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
So in
Mm-hmm.
both sides, he had some negatives.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, so, Anika, what decisions have you been making during this period of quarantine, of this lockdown? Let's put it that way.
Oh well, I had to make a lot of decision about how to spend time these days,
Mm-hmm.
and it was usually between reading,
Mm-hmm.
writing, or
Uh-huh.
watching movies.
Okay,
I mean,
nice.
for my free time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
although this hasn't been a very difficult decision to make.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so yeah, I had to make little decisions these days.
Okay, and don't forget about those decisions you have to make when you turn on your Netflix and go through
Ooh.
the movies and serials, and you have to decide which one to start watching. Okay, those are little
Right.
decisions too.
I personally, I don't have Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
so I just think of like a Google like a good movie and then download it
Oh,
or something.
mm-hmm.
So, what about you, Angela? Do you watch a lot of Netflix these days?
I have been watching a little bit, and more than usual, obviously.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we have been really busy at home, trying to get my daughter to do some art and crafts and, just
Oh,
trying
that's
to
nice.
help her out. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
all. Yeah. And cooking,
Yeah, what
eating, of
cooking?
course, eating and drinking. Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Okay.
So, well, okay. So, Gianni says, when I decided to go to Moscow to work for 2 years, oh my God, Gianni, what an experience. Tell us more. Did you enjoy your time there in Moscow? Did you eventually go to Moscow and stay there for 2 years? Okay, let us know. What about you, Alessia?
Yeah.
Okay, so while they're writing, maybe we can just carry
Yeah,
on
we can move
with
on.
the slides. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we have already
Yeah.
talked about
Mm-hmm.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna move on to some more questions.
Hmm.
So we're gonna read about these 4 decision-making tips from businessman Richard Branson.
Mm. Do you know
So,
who Richard Branson is?
well, yeah, I actually like Richard
Ah,
Branson and
yeah.
a lot of things he writes. He is
Mhm.
he's an entrepreneur, isn't it?
Yes,
He's
he is the CEO of Virgin. Yeah,
virgin, yeah.
yeah, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Active Virgin Radio, the Virgin brand from the
Yeah, so
UK. Hmm.
yeah. So he's an
Hmm.
entrepreneur. So
Yes.
many of you may not be familiar with the word entrepreneur. So the spelling is a little bit of a mess.
Hmm.
Entrepreneur. I think it's originated from French, perhaps, because the pronunciation is a little bit
Entrepreneur. Yeah, it sounds French to me. Yeah,
entrepreneur. Oh,
yeah.
great. So Johnny says, I tell you that it was an interesting and useful experience from the professional and human aspects. That's good. So you
Mm,
made the right decision. That's nice. So
nice.
so when I had to choose between working or studying, oh, that's a tough one. I had to do that
Mm,
actually. I had to make the
mm,
same choice, and I completely feel you, Alessia.
mm, mm. Yeah,
I
that's
don't know about
difficult.
you, but I gave up studying after a while. Like it was like
Mm.
a master's degrees. After one semester, I stopped. So what about you,
Ah,
Alessia? Have you chosen one of them, or have you continued with both of them?
hmm. Ah, that's a very difficult decision. Yeah, I can imagine. Hmm.
Okay, so while we're waiting for more comments, we
Mm-hmm.
can talk more about the different tips from Richard Branson. So don't
Mm-hmm.
act an emotional response. So what do you think about that?
Yes, absolutely correct. Yeah,
Hmm.
don't let your heart rule your head.
Oh, that's a nice that's a
Yeah.
nice expression.
So
Yeah.
in other words, think with your head, not with your heart. Okay?
Yeah. Well, I often make that mistake.
Don't we all?
Yeah. I think
So,
it's really hard to heart
yeah,
not let our hearts not get in the way sometimes.
yeah.
So yeah, don't let emotions get in the way. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with this? Do you think it's a good thing to let your emotions rule your decisions, or
Mm,
completely think with your head? I know some people think that a little bit of emotion should be involved in decision making, but I don't know. Different people
yeah.
may have
Well,
different
it
things.
also depends on the stage of your life. When you're young, you tend to act rashly. You tend to act on your emotional situation, for example. Okay.
Yeah,
And of course, as you grow older, then you mellow with age, and you understand. You're more practical, and you're more mature. You're more sensible in that sense. Okay, I agree with the sentence. Gianni agrees with this sentence. All right,
nice.
good.
So let's look at the next tip here. The next advice we have is find as many downsides to an idea as possible. So, what is a downside, Angela?
Hmm.
Can you,
I would say uh, the loose links, I would say, or the negatives
the
to an
negative?
idea.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a good word to
okay,
use.
okay. To that, Alessa says, "I reckon that it depends. I reckon it depends on the situation." Yep, it definitely depends on the situation.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's also a really great idea because, like, when you look at the downsides and then you work from it,
Hmm.
like the upsides, which is the opposite of down, the upsides are the easy parts. Like you can deal with them.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then if you think about how to deal with the downsides, that's a nice way to work towards a decision. That's a
yeah.
good. Do you normally
Anika,
do?
yeah, Anika, when you first moved here to Milan, what was it that made you feel like, oh, it's going to be a piece of cake, or what
Hmm.
were the negative aspects to moving here?
Well, that's a good question, actually.
Uh huh.
So before I moved here, I thought the one of the things that made it easy to make the decision is the fact that Milan is so international. There are people from a lot of countries here.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would be really fun and really friendly environment. And I think I
Mm-hmm.
was right about that.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the downside, I think, was that it was a new city, so I didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't really sure about things. So I
Mm-hmm.
think any new place, moving to any new place, has
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
way. Have you
True.
felt the same, Angela?
Yes. Firstly, I did not have any option with regards to moving here in the beginning because I actually moved here at very short notice, let's say, for because I was living in Kathmandu at that time, and there was a huge earthquake, and I was pregnant at that time, so I decided to move. Well, in 3 days, my husband and me decided that okay, to
Hmm.
save ourselves, save the baby, we have to move to Milan, which is his hometown. So that's how
Yeah.
we moved here. In the beginning, I was a little apprehensive because I thought, okay, I don't speak the language and I don't have any friends, etc. But
Hmm.
but Milan really grows on you. Okay, another sentence, grows
Hmm.
on you. Okay, I'm just writing it down, meaning that
Yeah.
you kind of start liking it. Okay, you start
Yeah.
liking it because Milan is amazing. All right, so
Yeah. It is.
Gianni. says, I agree, especially if it is a decision concerning your job. You need a possible alternative in case of downsides. Absolutely correct, Gianni. Yes, difficult decisions, and you need a plan B or a possible alternative in case of a downside to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Great.
Okay. So we can go to the next tip here. So protect the downside. I
Hmm.
wonder what they mean by that.
Yeah.
Protect
What does he
the
mean by that,
downside.
Anika?
Okay. So um, it may sound like you're trying to be trying to find the good side of the downside. But
Okay.
then this is, I'm going to show exactly what he said, Richard Branson
Mm-hmm.
said.
Mm-hmm.
Just sharing with you guys. I'm not really sure if it's possible to put it up on screen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
If not, I'm just going to read it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just read it out, I think. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just trying to open it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the meantime, if you guys have any ideas what you think, you can share.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so we are gonna have to wait a little bit discussing this point, so maybe we can go ahead to the next point and get back to it. What do you think,
Okay.
Angela?
Perfect. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Let's go there.
Okay, so all right, so here we are. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually read about the protect the downside. So
Okay.
Richard Branson says here. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
read it for you guys. The best lesson his father ever taught him was to protect the downside. That is, limit possible losses before moving
Mm-hmm.
forward with a new business venture. Okay,
Mm.
so you will think about the losses that you have to that you may have to make if you don't make that decision, and then
Mm-hmm.
make it smaller somehow. So if you
Mm.
think that, okay, maybe if I open this business, I will probably lose this much money, and then you will
Mm-hmm.
work on um, how
Limit
to
that
limit that. Yeah,
loss.
how to
Okay.
limit
Yeah.
the cost.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here we are at the last point here. Look at the big
Mm-hmm.
picture. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
like that one. Look at
Yeah.
the big picture.
Absolutely. Yeah. People
So,
always talk about looking at the big picture or the
yeah.
bigger picture. Okay. So,
Hmm.
like us, we, you and me as people, we are the center of our universe. Okay, our own universe. Like, for example, me, Angela, I am the center of my universe because I see everything from my perspective. Everything revolves around me. Sounds bad to say it, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like for you, Gianni, the world revolves around you, no? So yeah, so this is our world. But if you look at it from another person's perspective and you look at the world in a larger
Hmm.
picture, there are so many other definitions, so many different ways of looking at things. So in this is what you mean by look at the big picture.
Sure,
All
sure.
right.
Yeah. That really reminds me of the situation we are in right now. Like, it's not
Yeah.
about me and you, but about what's happening out there. Like, if we
Mhm.
are not responsible and
Yeah.
we're around, then other people have to pay. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, looking at the big picture.
It's a very sad situation. How are you guys, Alessia, Gianni? Okay, I'm just talking to you two guys because you are the most active here. Tell us, how are you guys? Are you doing well? How are your families? I hope everyone's doing well. Just write down and let us know how you guys are. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's
So
move on.
while we are waiting, we can move forward a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. We have actually discussed this points, so we can just move forward.
Okay. I think we have a little. an answer here from Johnny. Me too. I like it and I try to remember it always, but sometimes it's difficult. Yes, it is difficult
Yeah, I think
sometimes. It
he's
is difficult
talking
to
about the
remember.
bigger picture. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very nice,
Also,
Johnny. Yeah,
sometimes it can also refer to looking at the big picture and not to sweat the small stuff. So maybe that could be
exactly.
a nice
Oh,
expression
that's a nice one. I'll
to
write it
think
down.
about.
Not to
Yeah.
sweat the small
So
stuff.
sweat
Don't
literally
worry
means
about the
when
details. Yeah.
yeah, sweat literally means like when you're sweating, like water coming up, coming down. So when you sweat the small tough stuff, you look at the small little tiny details, and sometimes they make you more worried. So instead, if you look at the big picture, you feel a little more relaxed. So,
Yeah.
Alessia has a comment here. Yes, my family and I were doing well. My family and I are doing well. And
Mm-hmm.
thank you. What about you? All right, that's nice to know.
Now,
Yeah.
good to know, Alessia. Great. I'll talk about myself. We are fine here.
Hmm.
We are working from home. My daughter doesn't go to school at the moment, and we are really taking this lockdown seriously. None of us are going out. As much as possible, we're getting our groceries delivered home. Only when it's absolutely necessary do we go out,
Hmm.
to get groceries, and that's about it. We don't go out at all. What about you, Anika? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's similar situation. I live on my own, so at the beginning it's been really hard to
Yes,
adjust to.
absolutely. I can
Yeah,
imagine.
just felt
Mm.
like, oh my God, I'm left on this on my own. But now I think I'm much more used to it. And yeah, there are things I always find to do. And I'm realizing that there has been so many things that I never had the time to do, and finally doing them. So I'm trying to look at the upside to the situation.
Fantastic, very good. Upside to the situation, and I know you're a voracious reader, aren't you, Anika? You read a
Well,
lot. A
I try
bookworm.
to read a lot, but I mean,
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say voracious because recently I haven't been reading as much as I would like to. But yeah, I do love it.
Okay, so usually people who read,
Hmm.
it's easier for them to get by
Yeah, it's a
with the
little
lockdown.
easier now. Yeah,
Yeah. Great.
sure.
Nice. What about you, Gianni?
Hmm.
Let us know, right?
Yeah, I hope everybody's happy and safe. I mean, like, I wouldn't use the word happy, but I hope everybody's safe and doing well and everything.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Difficult decisions. Yes. This is
so
a good
we're gonna do.
exercise.
Yeah. So I was thinking of looking at some situations here and we can talk about what decisions we would make.
All right. Before that, let's
Yeah.
just quickly read Gianni's answer. I'm good and I stay at home. The only moments of movida are when I go to the supermarket or to the news stand. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very much like us. But are newsstands open? I didn't
Some of
realize
them
that they were
are
open.
actually. I heard some of them
I
are
didn't
because
realize.
I think some people need to do some specific things like reload their some cards or something. Like they have some specific
Ah,
tasks
I
they have
see.
to do.
Okay. Okay. So very necessary things. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Movida. I wonder what you meant by that, Jack.
Okay. Movita is probably the Italian word for movement. I
Okay.
imagine. I
Oh,
think.
hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, or just going out of the house. Or the
The
only
movement.
times I go out are
Uh-huh.
the only times I go out are. So, yeah,
Okay.
great. So we just have around 5 minutes or 6 minutes left, so we can talk about some situations that we're gonna discuss. Here.
Mm.
So
All
here,
right.
number one.
Mm-hmm.
mm, So you really want to return to education, but as
Mm-hmm.
soon as you get a place on a course, you're offered a promotion of work with a sustainable pay rise.
Substantial. I think it's
Substantial. Sorry,
substantial.
the writings are really small when I look
Yeah,
at it.
it's really small. I was wondering.
Substantial
Substantial
pay
pay
rise.
rise. Oh, that's a
Mm,
difficult one.
yeah.
Yeah. What would
So,
you do?
yeah, it's a good question. So what about you guys, first of all? So
Hmm?
if you were in this situation, so you were
Uh-huh.
supposed to return to work, but then you get a promotion at work, what would you do?
Okay, so
Oh,
Johnny.
that
Uh-huh.
means a moment of social life with friends
That's
outside.
outside. Okay,
Okay,
great. Thank you, Johnny.
okay. I
Mhm.
don't think in English there would be something so specific like
But
this.
the problem with English is that it's so fluid, and we incorporate Spanish, Italian words, French words in so easily that it could be a part of the English dictionary as we speak, Anika. So movida could be an English word by now. It could have happened in a few seconds, So really, English moves really fast. So yes, movida. Next.
Sure.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Jenny.
Yeah, I didn't know that information.
Mhm.
But
Ah,
then, just out of curiosity, I have checked the translation and it says nightlife. So,
oh,
yeah,
nice, interesting. So social life.
a
Okay,
social
great.
life.
Social
Yeah, I
nightlife.
don't mind waiting in lines anymore for the
Mhm.
supermarket. So that's like a little bit of socialization these days.
Okay, we have to make the most of whatever we've got. Yeah.
No,
So
even if from a distance, you can say
yeah.
hi.
So Alessia says, weigh the pros and cons.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. You're gonna weigh the pros and cons and see if you want to return to education or take up that promotion with that
sure. Well, I don't know
substantial
about you
pay rise.
guys. Yeah, substantial. I don't know about you guys, but I think I would take the promotion.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, yeah, it
What
will
about you,
depend.
Angela?
Yeah, it will depend on the situation. Like if I, it would depend on my age. It would depend on how much I'm willing to put in to my education, the effort I want to put in. Okay, so really, it would differ in different stages of life for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Yeah.
For me, unless it's like Harvard or something, it wouldn't happen.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh,
Jenny,
I see, Johnny. Fantastic.
yeah, yeah, I understood that you
Great,
were joking.
Johnny.
Like,
Okay,
obviously.
absolutely. Great. Thank you, Johnny.
So we have just 3 minutes left. So maybe we have one more situation to discuss
Yeah,
about, and then maybe we could just wrap up.
yeah.
Number two, do you want to take this one, Angela?
Yes, yes, I will. You are offered a year-long trip around the world with your job, but it will mean leaving your family as they cannot come with you. Oh, that's a no-brainer for me.
Oh,
That's a no-brainer. I won't be
yeah,
taking that. Yeah.
yeah,
I-
sure. You won't be taking
yeah,
to
I
prioritize
would.
your family, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yeah. What
Sure.
about you
What about
guys?
what would you do? So if I don't have a family, but if I did, I think I would do the same as Angela.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a year-long trip away from your family, it will come with, it usually comes with negative consequences, and
Yeah.
you don't really enjoy as much if you know that you're not going to see them for so long,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if you have little children and so on.
Sure.
What
Well,
would you
okay.
guys do? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So while we're waiting for the response, maybe we could wrap up a little bit, summarize a
Yeah.
little bit of some
Mm-hmm.
expressions we talked about.
Yep.
So in this lesson, we have talked about difficult decisions in general.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have talked about some common expressions
Mm-hmm.
about
Wow.
making decisions.
Alessia and
Yeah.
Jenny, they are all for
Mhm.
it. They will actually accept it, that offer. Nice, good, positive, very positive, guys.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Why not?
So, well, why not? So we had some expressions about difficult decisions. So one of them, when you talk about two different decisions, really difficult, to make what was the expression. So one of them was between a rock and a hard
Hard
place.
place.
Something and then
The
we were
devil
talking
and the
about
deep
something that,
sea.
yeah, we have talked about no-brainer,
A no-brainer. Yeah.
damned
Damn
if
if
you
you do,
do.
damn if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, between the devil and the deep blue sea, weighing the pros and cons. And other
Mm.
than these expressions, we have come up with a lot more other vocabulary. For example, we talked about the disadvantage or the negative side of something,
Mm-hmm.
which is
The
downside.
downside. Yeah.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and then Angela has come up with a really nice idiom, too many cooks spoil the broth. So that's a really, really common one that you might find useful. We have
Mm-hmm.
talked about being on the same boat,
Mm-hmm.
same difficult situation.
Yep.
We have talked about when something grows on you,
Mm-hmm.
you start liking it little by little. We have
Mm-hmm.
talked about to sweat the small stuff when
Yeah.
you think about the little tiny things instead of looking at the big picture. Yeah.
Yes, and that's all from us today. Thank you for tuning in today, and we were so happy to have you two, especially Jenny and Alessia, who are really, really very responsive and very active. Thank you so much, guys, and hope to see you again. I think it's the same time tomorrow, masterclass.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's same time. Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Bye bye.